Have you ever met someone who, no matter how kind or respectful you are, instantly seems to dislike you? No reason, no warning, just a cold stare, and you're left wondering, what did I do wrong? The truth is, sometimes it's not about what you did. Sometimes it's about what you represent. Buried deep within the folds of human behavior lie silent forces: envy, fear, pride, misunderstanding, subtle yet powerful enough to turn strangers into critics and even friends into foes. In this video, we're not here to complain. We're here to understand, to peel back the layers and explore 9 surprising reasons why someone might hold negative feelings toward you, even when you've done nothing wrong. And in doing so, we're not just protecting our peace. We're building clarity. We're reclaiming power. So if you've ever felt judged unfairly, resented quietly, or excluded without explanation, this journey is for you. Let's begin. Sometimes admiration curdles into contempt. Respect quietly slips into resentment, and often it has nothing to do with you, but everything to do with what you represent. Envy and jealousy are among the most corrosive emotions in the human psyche. They're not always loud or obvious. Sometimes they wear polite smiles, while quietly wishing for your downfall. Why? Because your presence reminds them of something they feel they lack: your confidence, your success, your freedom. Whatever it is, it touches an insecurity they haven't yet faced. They don't see your journey. They don't see your struggles. They only see the outcome and compare it to their own internal battles. This is where resentment brews, and in its worst form, it grows fangs: gossip, slander, sabotage. Not because you deserve it, but because they can't bear the reflection you cast back at them. But here's the truth. Their envy is not your burden. You don't owe anyone an apology for your light, just because they're lost in the dark. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, don't waste time worrying about things beyond your control. You are not here to shrink to fit someone else's comfort. You are here to live fully, to grow deeply, and to keep your peace intact, even in the presence of unspoken bitterness. When you learn to recognize envy for what it is, you no longer internalize it. You simply move forward. Sometimes, it's not what you say. It's how it's heard. A word spoken in haste, a pause mistaken for judgment, a glance misread as rejection. Misunderstandings are like cracks in glass, small at first, but over time, they spread, until they distort the entire view of a relationship. Most hostility doesn't begin with cruelty. It begins with miscommunication. You meant one thing, they heard another, and instead of asking, they assumed. And assumption is a dangerous fuel. Without open dialogue, people begin to build their own stories about you. Stories based not on truth, but on fragments, fears, and filtered memories. They may start to think you're arrogant, distant, disrespectful, but none of that may be real. It's a version of you that exists only in their mind, shaped by poor communication and silence. And silence, ironically, can be the loudest source of conflict. This is why clarity matters. Stoicism teaches us, first understand, then act. To prevent resentment, we must listen not just to respond, but to genuinely understand. We must speak not just to defend, but to connect. Because the cost of not communicating is often the slow death of connection. Not from hate, but from misunderstanding. And that's something we can choose to change. Sometimes, it's not you they reject. It's the part of you that challenges their worldview. Each of us is shaped by a lifetime of experiences, our values, our beliefs, our rights and wrongs. They aren't facts, they're filters. And when someone sees you living a life that doesn't fit into their framework, they may feel threatened, not because you're wrong, but because your existence forces them to question what they've always believed. This is the quiet war of values. It doesn't start with shouting. It begins with discomfort. You take a path they wouldn't, make choices they never dared to, hold beliefs they were taught to fear. To them, your difference isn't neutral. It feels like a challenge, a mirror reflecting doubt they've long tried to silence. And when that happens, walls go up, judgment hardens, and resentment begins to take root. But Stoicism reminds us, each person sees the world through the lens of their own experience. Just as your values were hard-won and deeply held, so were theirs. Neither is superior, only different. And difference is not a threat. It's an invitation to listen, to understand, to coexist. So next time someone bristles at who you are, ask yourself, are they reacting to you, or to the story they've been told about someone like you? You don't need to do anything wrong to be talked about. Sometimes, all it takes is existing in a way that others don't understand. Rumors spread like wildfire. They don't need proof. They just need attention, a whisper here, a suggestion there, and suddenly, your image is no longer yours. It's been edited, exaggerated, twisted. You become a character in someone else's story, the villain in a tale you didn't even know was being told. And the worst part? You rarely get the chance to correct it. By the time the truth catches up, the damage is done. But here's what Stoicism teaches. Your reputation is not your character. You don't owe everyone an explanation. You don't have to chase down every falsehood. Your energy is better spent living with integrity, speaking with truth, and choosing your peace over their projections. Because when you hold firm in your truth, eventually, the noise fades, the rumors die, and what remains is what's real. Sometimes the hostility aimed at you has absolutely nothing to do with you. It's not your success that bothers them. It's how your success highlights their insecurity. They see your confidence and feel the weight of their self-doubt. They witness your growth and are reminded of the places where they've stayed stuck. This isn't about ego, it's about projection. Projection is a defense mechanism. When people feel unworthy, they often transfer those feelings outward, blaming, resenting, even hating those who embody what they lack. To them, you are not a person. You are a mirror, reflecting everything they fear they're not. It could be your career, your relationships, your calmness under pressure, or your ability to live freely. And instead of saying, "I want that too," they quietly tell themselves, they don't deserve it. But here's the truth. Their internal war is not yours to fight. You didn't cause their fear. You didn't build their doubt. You just happen to stand in the light while they still wrestle with their shadows. As Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces his own soul." So when someone lashes out, pause and recognize the pain behind the projection. You don't have to absorb it. You only need to understand it and choose peace anyway. In a perfect world, people would seek to understand before they judge. But the real world doesn't always work that way. Sometimes the pain people cause isn't born of cruelty. It's born of a lack of empathy. They don't see your struggle. They don't hear what you meant. They don't ask what you're going through. They just assume. And assumptions without empathy are dangerous. They create stories in black and white, without ever asking about the shades of gray. A missed smile becomes an insult. A quiet day becomes rejection. A different opinion becomes disrespect. And just like that, resentment forms, without truth, without conversation. But why does this happen? Because empathy requires effort. It means pausing your world to step into someone else's. And not everyone is willing to do that, especially those consumed by ego who see everything through the lens of me. To them, your experiences are irrelevant, your emotions are inconvenient, and your truth, it's a threat to their narrative. But here's what you need to remember. Their lack of empathy does not define your worth. It defines their capacity to connect. As Marcus Aurelius said, you can choose not to be harmed, and if you choose not to be harmed, you haven't been. When someone fails to see you, don't vanish. When they judge without understanding, don't let it shape you. Stay grounded in your compassion. Not to change them, but to protect your peace. At first, it feels harmless. A little comparison, a silent race, a desire to do better, just like them. Healthy competition can push us forward, but when it crosses a line, when it becomes obsession, it stops being growth and starts being war. Some people don't want to rise with you. They want to watch you fall. They measure their success not by progress, but by your setbacks. Instead of saying, "I want that too," they whisper, "That should have been mine." This is rivalry poisoned by insecurity. And it turns everyday moments into battlegrounds, where every compliment you receive feels like an insult to them, where your win becomes their loss. As Marcus Aurelius warned, the mind that envies others harms itself. When people are trapped in this mindset, they stop improving and start sabotaging. Not just others, but themselves. They'll criticize your work, mock your joy, undermine your name. Not because you're wrong, but because you remind them of what they haven't done yet. But here's the truth. Another person's success doesn't diminish yours. There is room for all of us to shine. There is strength in rising together, and peace in knowing that your journey is your own. So don't be distracted by rivalry. Be devoted to growth. Some people won't dislike you for doing wrong. They'll dislike you for doing different. You chose a different career, a different lifestyle, a different rhythm to your life. And that difference, it makes them uncomfortable. Not because you've harmed them, but because your freedom challenges everything they've conformed to. This is the power of social expectation. It whispers, be like everyone else. Stay in the mold. Don't question the rules. So when you step outside those unspoken boundaries, even without saying a word, you become a disruption. Your courage reminds them of their silence. Your authenticity highlights their masks. But Stoicism teaches, it is not death that we should fear, but never beginning to live. Your life is not a performance. It is not meant to meet their standards, nor follow their timelines. It is a path, uniquely yours. And while others may frown, gossip, or pull away, they cannot take from you what they never gave, your purpose. So choose the road that aligns with your soul. Walk it without apology. Let their judgment be their prison, not yours. Sometimes, the thing that hurts the most isn't rejection. It's being ignored. You show up, you give your best, you stay consistent, but the applause goes to someone else. Recognition matters. We're wired to want it, to feel seen, to know our efforts counted. But when acknowledgement is missing, especially where it matters most, something shifts inside. Disappointment hardens, frustration brews, and in time, resentment begins to grow. This is how silence becomes a wound, especially in environments fueled by comparison, workplaces, families, even friendships, where validation feels like a scarce resource and appreciation becomes a competition. But here's the truth. Your value is not dependent on their praise, and your growth doesn't stop just because they didn't clap. As Epicurus once said, "Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not." It's okay to want recognition, but don't let the lack of it steal your joy. And if someone resents you for being seen, know that it speaks more about their pain than your spotlight. You are allowed to be visible, to be excellent, to be proud. Even if no one says it out loud, keep rising, because your worth isn't up for a vote. We've just walked through 9 powerful truths, not about others, but about ourselves, about how we respond when we're envied, misunderstood, judged, ignored. Each insight we explored wasn't just a reason people might dislike you. It was a mirror, a chance to see clearly, to respond calmly, to live freely. Now ask yourself, have you ever mistaken someone's silence for hate, their anger for truth, their bitterness for something you caused? Sometimes people carry storms that have nothing to do with you, but gee, you're the one who gets wet. So here's the question I leave you with. When others project pain onto you, will you absorb it or rise above it? If this journey resonated with you, I'd love to hear your reflections. Not just your victories, but the moments that shaped you. Your comments and presence help this community grow. Gently, quietly, powerfully. Feel free to subscribe if you'd like more content like this. Or simply leave the word stillness in the comments below to show you've walked this far with us. And as we part ways for now, carry this truth with you. The opinion of others is not the compass. Your peace is.